Hello. Wow, nice. What a wonderful tribute. Thank you for the love of horror. Wonderful.
Let's just start with Sid.
Okay.
It must be tough for you to. We were going to do the two of you on stage. He's not here. You knew him a long time. You worked with him. He was a friend. He was a fellow professional. It must be fairly tough for you to be here on your own. And I wondered how you heard and how you heard about his death and your reaction when you heard.
Hey, there's Otis back there. Hey, Otis. All right. And there's a little guy. I see Spalding and Otis.
He's still here.
Right at home. I heard of Sid's passing from his son, Tate. And very sad. Sid and I were a good traveling duo. We thought of ourselves as kind of the Martin and Lewis of or the Laurel and Hardy, really, of the horror convention circuit. And I know that Sid was planning to come here, and I'm sure he would have really appreciated this wonderful outpouring from the fans. Sid really loves his fans, and it was a sad day to hear of his passing. I don't know. I'm still kind of getting my head around it. It feels a little strange not having him to play off of, but I'm going to do my best. So again, thank you for your wonderful support and your outpouring of love.
Can I just ask how many of you have seen Three from Hell? Right. How many of you haven't seen Three from Hell? I'm one of those. So for those of us that haven't seen it,
yes,
what can we expect from the triumvirate, from yourself and from Sherry and from Sid in that movie? Is it more of the same that's gone before? Is it slightly different? Where do we go?
I have signed an NDA. I'm sorry for all those who haven't seen it yet, so I can't really give you too many spoilers. I can tell you, though, that there's another cast member in the audience, and that is my wife, Lucinda. Would you please stand up, honey? Come on. She is in the movie, and I can't really tell you. Although I can tell you that she comes to no good. I'm afraid there won't be a sequel for Lucinda. She
comes to a bad end.
She does, which was great. Because in the movie, not obviously in real life, honey. But it was very funny because I had mentioned to Rob when he said that he was going to, he was writing a third installment. I kind of half in jest said, is there a way to give my wife a part in this? And, I kind of laughed so that if in fact he didn't do that, it wouldn't be really that big a deal. But some months passed and he called up and said, that the script is done. And by the way, there is a part for Lucinda and also, and this is a big spoiler, I'm sorry, but he said, and you get to kill her. And I went, yes, that is awesome. Now, it's not, I love Lucinda dearly, but of course, in horror movies, being killed is actually a great honor. And, so it was it's a lot of fun. She did a great job. So when you do see the movie, she plays a character called Nebraska. She's a bounty hunter with Bill Oberst Jr., and you'll see what I mean. She does a great job.
How was it coming back to the character and revisiting the character and refinding the character in your own mind after all those years?
Well, thanks to conventions like this, Otis, and, people like you, thank you very much for dressing like Otis. And you too, thank you. And you too, behind you. I mean, so Otis really never gets too far away from me because I do a lot of, horror conventions, etc. I did find that when I got on the set, one of the things that, it had taken a long time. I think it's like 14 years since The Devil's Rejects. And so I was in my head, as actors tend to get. I was thinking, like, I wanted to honor the old Otis, but also to, come up with a new Otis and expand. And I was kind of overthinking it. And we were doing one scene right at the beginning of shooting 3 from Hell. And I had a kind of a short monologue, I guess, and I was fumbling the lines. I did a couple of takes, and I was just missing lines. Something was going on. And Rob was kind of looking askance, like, yeah, Bill, hey, And I said, give me a second here. So I sat down, I took a deep breath, let it out, and then I heard this voice in my head saying, Bill, get out of the way, I've got this. And it was Otis. And I think what really was happening there was, like, we didn't really need the Hollywood actor, what's my better side or whatever. Just get out of the way, I got this. And as soon as I kind of acquiesced to Otis, everything went fine. Yeah, right back into it. So,
okay, there are lots of you out there, so I'm going to open it up to questions in about 1 minute. Ben here is going to run with the mic. So if you have a question,
Ben, all right,
put your hand in the air, and we'll try and get to you as many of you as possible.
I do have one more anecdote, just in terms of Sid. Sid and I used to, when we would go to conventions together, we would sit very close to one another. And invariably, someone would come up to one of us and say, is there going to be a sequel to Devil's Rejects? And if they came up and asked me that, I'd say, hey, Sid! And he'd go, what? And I would say, is there going to be a sequel to Devil's Rejects? And he would say, nope. And I'd say, how come? And then we would count to 3, and then in unison we would say, because we're fucking dead. And clearly we weren't, as it turned out. And I was trying to figure out, a lot of people would come up with ideas like how there could be a third. One of the ideas, the worst was somebody wakes up and it was all a dream. It's like, that's lame. Another idea was that we did die. We went to hell, and we were so bad there that the devil rejected us. Hence the Devil's Rejects. The only problem with that, of course, is then we'd be supernatural, so that kind of sucked. And I think Rob's idea was the best, and you'll see that when you do see the movie. We do survive, and really it's all because of the poor marksmanship of the Ruggsville Sheriff's Department. Or as Rob said, rubber bullets. So that's a spoiler, sorry, but that's how we made it. The gang that couldn't shoot straight.
Okay, Ben, over to you.
Yep.
First question?
Yes. Oh, man, it's all the way over there.
All the way over there.
By the way, I love Manchester, so thank you, everybody, for that. It's great. Great being here.
Manchester loves you.
Hello.
You were saying about Otis, he is one nasty character, yeah? And you said he kind of like took over a little bit in the film. But how, when you play a role like that, do you manage to disengage with the character?
Just kidding. I was giving her the evil eye. Actually, I don't disengage. You can add, that's really more of a question for my wife. And children. My children are very well behaved, let's put it that way. But, actually, I just find that I'm able to leave it at work. Acting is a lot about the imagination. And I'm not what is called a method actor, so I don't have to be Otis for like 3 months, and just stay there. I can really kind of turn it on and turn it off, would you say? Pretty much. I mean, I don't, especially in Los Angeles, you don't really want to come home as Otis, or anywhere really for that matter. So it just really, I don't know, I guess it's maybe being an actor, you learn how to do that.
The question I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times before is where the character comes from. How much of it is on the page? how much of it is in your heart, in your head? How do you develop something as abominable as him?
You know, it's very interesting. When I first met Rob Zombie back in October of 1999, I met him. I was emceeing a small horror award show at Universal Studios in Los Angeles. And I had been asked by Universal to come as Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Thank you. And so I had a friend of mine who could do the makeup, so I came made up as Chop Top, wearing a tuxedo. And that's when I met Rob. Rob was one of the award recipients at this little award show. And so I handed him his award. I did the whole thing as Chop Top. And Rob was freaked out because Rob loved Chop Top, and that's how I got the part of Otis. When I got, a month after I met him, I got a call saying, do you want to be in Rob's movie? It just got green-lit. It's called House of a Thousand Corpses, and you would be playing a character called Otis Driftwood. I said, great. I'm an actor. Sounds good to me. At first, I thought that Rob wanted kind of a rehash of Chop Top, his own version of Chop Top. But then I realized, Rob's got, I don't know, for some reason, Rob saw like more of a, hard-ass Otis character in me. I thought he saw Chop Top, but he saw Otis, and he led me, he kind of pried my hands off Chop Top and led me slowly but firmly to Otis. And I really think of Chop Top as physically as kind of up in the shoulders. He's kind of skitchy, and he's scratching his head, and he's going, lick my plate, you dog dick. And it's all kind of up here, And Otis is really down right in the groin. It's like, hey, fuck you, down here. So that was the journey that, went from the shoulders to the groin. And once that happened, I was a better man for it, I think.
Okay, yep.
Which film did you enjoy being in the most, and why? Which is your favourite film that you enjoyed being in?
Of my entire life, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Oh. I've gotten to a place in my career where if I don't get hurt and the check clears, it's a good job. But I would have to say, really, when it comes right down to it, you always go back to your first love, and for me, that would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I love Chop Top. No offense, Otis, but I love Chop Top. It was the first time because I came to the game kind of late in life. I was in my mid-30s when I got the job from Tobe Hooper. And, it was really amazing to me. It was like running away to join the circus and them asking you to stay. It was so much fun. I really couldn't believe my good fortune that you could actually make a living at work like this. I had so much fun playing Chop Top. Really lost myself for 2 months, however long it took. Really had a great time. So I would have to say Chainsaw 2. Yeah, thank you.
There's a question from Kerry.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Hi. Just wondering, if you could pick any other character to play, who would it be and why?
Any other character to play? Yes, I think it would be Edgar in King Lear. Poor Tom's a cold. I'm pretty happy with the characters I played so far. I know that there's a movie that I would like to be in, and I don't think it's ever going to get made, but I'm a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and he has a great story. One of my favorite stories is At the Mountains of Madness. And there was a rumor there, in fact, I guess even a script, that James Cameron was going to produce a Guillermo del Toro script of At the Mountains of Madness. And I wanted to be in that more than really anything. It fell through because I think Aliens, the Prometheus Aliens movie, I think Guillermo said that was too similar. I don't see how it would have been or was, but that really would be my dream job at the Mountains of Madness. So if you're doing one, call me up.
Okay, another one. Where are we?
Hi, Bill. I was just...
Sorry.
Hey,
front row.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yes.
I was just wondering, ask you a question about the Night of the Living Dead. You
Yes.
had a small part in there, but you were working with a lot of Romero's people. What was that different compared to working with Toby Hooper's people and later on with Rob Zombie's? Did you find any difference, or was it just all part of the same business?
It is. I had worked with Tom Savini when I was doing Texas Chainsaw 2. Tom, the king of splatter, Tom Savini, was the head makeup guy. He designed Chop Top, he designed the new Leatherface, all of the makeups was Tom Savini. And after Chainsaw 2, a couple of years later, Tom got the nod from George Romero to direct the color remake of Night of the Living Dead. And Tom called me up and he said, hey, I'm directing the remake. I'm going to send you a copy of the script. I want you to read it and I want you to pick any character you'd like. I said, great. So he sent me the script, and it was interesting because as an actor, of course, you want the bigger the part, the more money you make, or at least that seems to be the formula. So I wanted to play Harry, who was the bad guy in the basement, who was played by Tom Towles in the color remake. And I said, I called Tom up. I said, it's a great script. It's a lot of fun. But I want to play Harry in the basement. And Tom said, pick any character. Just make sure it's Johnny. And I was like, oh, because Johnny didn't really last very long. What I did do to prepare for Johnny was I watched a movie, a Boris Karloff movie called Die, Monster, Die with Nick Adams. It's like an H.P. Lovecraft story, but I kept watching it on videotape way back when. And I wanted to get the accent right because Johnny, of course, has a short part, but he does say, they're coming to get you, Barbara. So I wanted to make sure I knew how to say that. And then when I did do the movie, there was... I did say they're coming to get you, Barbara, but we still had a long way to go to our mother's gravestone in the cemetery. So I ad-libbed, they're horny, Barbara. They've been dead a long time. And that was, George Romero was there. He liked it, so that stayed in the movie. So that was a lot of fun.
Hi.
Yep. Hi.
Hi. My favourite role that you've played is Luigi Largo. And I was just wondering, what was your favourite part of filming Repo, the Genetic Opera?
I would have to say working with Paris Hilton. Yeah. A lot of people kind of shunned Repo, the Genetic Opera, directed by Darren Bousman, because of the presence of Paris Hilton. And I thought Paris Hilton did a great job in it. She was a real trooper. She worked hard. She was a lot of fun. So that was certainly, she was certainly my favorite, discovery, because I had come in also with a little prejudice from watching her show, with whoever, Richie, I don't know, I forgot her first name, but what was that show that they did where they were like city girls? Yeah, right, Simple Life. So that was like, but I thought she was awesome. I also really had a great time. I guess I had a bromance with Ogre from Skinny Puppy, who played Pavi, my brother rival. He was a great guy. I had never met him before until we, worked on Repo. Really a lot of fun. And Paul Sorvino was a lot of fun. The whole cast was very eclectic. The show was so ambitious. It was a crazy show. I do remember that Darren Bousman, the director, came up to me and he said, this is before we shot, and he said, I'd like you to I'm doing this show called Repo and I want you to be in it. I know you can kill people, but can you sing? And I said, come on, Darren, because I had given him some CDs that I had done. I had a band with Buckethead called Cornbugs. And I had given Darren a couple of Cornbug CDs. And I said, he said, can you sing? And I said, well, you've heard my corn bug CDs. And he said, yeah, but can you sing? It's like, thanks, buddy. And I did do so I had to audition and I had to sing. And so I had prepared a song, because I do take singing lessons to this day. And I had prepared a song, was ready to go, but I was nervous. And I remember getting to the studio in Los Angeles, and the person that preceded me was one of the Pussycat Dolls. I don't know if you all know the Pussycat Dolls, but this was she was really belting out songs. She was kicking her legs up. I mean, I was like, oh, shit, I'm screwed. But then, they thanked her, and then it was like, you're next, buddy. And so I was down there like, oh, man. And but then I had to do a test, and I spoke into the microphone. And the microphone they had in this particular studio in Los Angeles was amazing. It was like the magic microphone. And it made me sound really good. I wish I had it to this day. And so I sang my song, Night Surgeon, or whatever it was. And everybody was like up in the control booth going, yeah. So I got the part, I could sing, and I certainly killed a lot of people. So thanks.
Hi, Bill. Just wanted to ask, what was it like working with Dennis Hopper on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
I didn't seem to work with Dennis very much, only in the last scene in Texas Chainsaw 2. Dennis, we were working like 20-hour days. I had, I think the chop top makeup was 3.5 hours on, hour and a half off. It was an hour each way to set. And then we were doing 12-hour days. I was working like pretty much the whole day. And I do remember one morning coming in, I was just, had to go to work another day. I was exhausted. And I walk in there, and there's Dennis Hopper wearing a silk bathrobe, eating at the, the breakfast at the motel or whatever. And he was getting ready to put his golf clubs in the back of his rented Lincoln Continental and drive over to his buddy Willie Nelson's country club and play golf in the morning while we were going to work, sawing people up. So I just thought, it's good to be the king, but I was not the king then.
Hi, Bill. Going back to Repo, I loved Repo and I loved Devil's Carnival as well. Is there any more plans to work with Terrence or Darren in any other musical horrors?
Not that I know of. I did Devil's Carnival 1 and 2. I don't really know. I mean, I certainly would like to. That would be great. I know that Darren just was up in Canada doing a new Saw movie with Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson. So I have no idea what that's going to turn into. But I would certainly like to do it again, but there's no word. Why don't you go ahead and write one, man?
Hi, if Rob came to you with a 4th movie to play Otis again, would you do it? Or is Otis dead?
Well, I think that's like, let's do an audience participation. If I were asked to do a 4th movie as Otis, if I should say yes, please applaud. Okay. All right. I bend to the will of the people.
Has anybody got any more questions? Oh, I'm just coming around. While I'm on my way, can we talk some more about Paris Hilton?
I'll ask you this. Yes. You made a breakthrough in a sequel to Texas Chainsaw. You've been in reboots and other film series. Is there any, in an actor's mind, is there ever any concern, nervousness, pressure about going in and doing the follow-up or the remake? Or is it just the job?
It should be just a job, but of course, I did 2000 Maniacs, and I followed Robert Englund as Mayor Buckman. So I've been asked to fill some big shoes. Again, with Chainsaw 2, my inspiration was Ed Neal, who played the Hitchhiker, and to show up as his twin brother, as it turns out, or his brother, that was, there were big shoes to fill there. So I just try to suit up and show up. I try to know my lines and hit my marks. I try not to really think of the big picture, because you can kind of get lost in that. So I just, I guess I'm more of a, blue collar. I take a blue collar approach.
Morgan Freeman used the term an itinerant working actor. So
exactly.
All right.
So we've talked about what it's like working with Dennis Hopper, but what was it like working with Tobe Hooper?
It was a ball. I love Tobe Hooper, and I will just tell you an anecdote. One day we were working on the set. We were working in the radio station. That was back in 1986, so we were using cameras with real film and hot lights. It was a very small, close space. It was hot. And what I'm doing, the scene that I was doing was I was smashing poor LG's head with my claw hammer. And right off camera was Tom Savini with a big a jug of stage blood pumping away, so that when I was hitting LG, this blood was spraying out from little tubes at his hairline. And each time we did another take of it, everything had to be reset. Poor LG had to be cleaned up. We all had to, get back to square one. And so each time I was doing it, I was coming up with new stuff. I would go, if I had a hammer, banging on him, or a 1, a 2, a 3, and hey, incoming mail, whatever I was doing. And sometimes, sometimes the take would stop because the claw hammer was actually made out of foam rubber, painted foam rubber with a coat hanger wire inside it, just to give it some form. And every once in a while, I would be banging away and singing, and blood would be spraying, and LG would be down on his back, and Tobe would say, "Cut." And, I'd go, what? And I'd look, and the claw hammer would be completely bowed over. It would just bend, from just hitting and this flimsy hammer. Well, finally, we had done maybe 12 takes of this scene. We're all hot and sticky, and, and Tobe, and, we'd done some good takes. And Tobe said, yeah, well, that was great. Yeah, let's just do one more. And I was getting a little bit exasperated, and I turned to Tobe and I said, Tobe, am I doing something wrong? And he said, oh, hell no, Bill, I'm just having fun watching you. And when a director says that to you, it's gold. I was so pumped, And that's what he just loved watching me play Chop Top. A lot of it was improv. He really encouraged it. Really had a great time. It was a wonderful combination of script and improv, and that all comes out of the director. So I would say working with Tobe was really one of the highlights of my career.
And being here has been one of the highlights of ours. Our guest, Bill Moseley.